Welcome back for another deep dive. This time we're looking at Shattered Reflections, a crime thriller.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. And this story is about a love triangle, betrayal, and
Ooh, spicy.
yeah, exactly. So if you ever wondered, like, what secrets are hiding, underneath those seemingly perfect lives?
Oh, totally.
Well, that's what we're going to be exploring today as we unpack this world of Arav.
Okay.
Now, Arav is a successful businessman.
Got it.
He's got this beautiful wife, Mira, who's a former model.
Okay.
And then there's this captivating lover,
Sure.
Rena,
Wow.
all caught in this love triangle.
Yeah.
And they're all living in this city that kind of mirrors their turmoil.
I see.
It's this mix of luxury and, like, decay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's so interesting to me about this story is that it uses a murder mystery,
Right.
but it's really a framework to dive into some deeper issues.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and for example, Mira's character. She's not just this jealous wife.
Right, right.
Yeah, she's more like this vehicle
Okay.
to explore all this pressure on women. You
Yeah.
know? Like, especially as they age, they have to maintain a certain image.
Right.
The author is kind of subtly asking us
Yeah.
to consider how these, like, unrealistic beauty standards impact a woman's self-worth,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, how much do those expectations really affect us?
Exactly. Like, what do you think? Yeah, I mean, does that resonate at all with you?
Oh, totally. Like we see it everywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it definitely makes you think.
But let's rewind back to the beginning of the story. So it opens with Arav.
Okay.
And he's like, living the dream, right? Successful career, beautiful wife,
Yeah.
material comforts.
Right.
But then there's this crack.
No.
Like under the surface, there's this secret
Okay.
that is going to threaten to shatter everything.
I see.
And that is his affair with Rena.
Got it.
So it really makes you think, like, what would drive someone like that to
Yeah.
risk it all?
Yeah, yeah, with everything to lose.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think? What drives a guy like Arav?
Well, it's easy to just, label him as a cheater, but I think the story goes deeper and shows us his vulnerabilities, right?
Okay.
I mean, he's drawn to Rena's energy,
Yeah.
that vibrancy.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that he feels is missing
Right.
in his own life.
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe even in himself.
Exactly. Exactly. But Rena's complex too, right? I mean, she's not just this stereotypical homewrecker.
Right.
She's coming from a place of insecurity and really yearning for validation.
Right.
So it makes you wonder, like, is she really manipulative or is she just looking for belonging?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's like we always want to jump to those easy judgments.
Totally.
But this story really challenges us to look deeper. Yeah, to see their motivation.
Absolutely.
And Mira, well,
Yeah.
she might be the most compelling.
Right.
Because on one hand, she's battling those societal pressures
Yeah.
that we were just talking about.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, she's dealing with this feeling of inadequacy
Oh,
in her marriage.
okay.
So when she finds out about the affair,
Mm-hmm.
it just completely shatters her.
Right.
It's almost like this chain reaction.
Wow.
Yeah, and then she spirals into jealousy and resentment.
It makes sense, though. Right.
It's like everything she was holding together just falls apart.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, think about it. The author isn't just telling a story about
Yeah.
infidelity and revenge.
Yeah, right.
They're using these characters and relationships to explore,
Yeah.
like, human desire.
Right.
What are the consequences of our choices?
Yeah.
And all those scars that are left by societal pressures.
Right, those hidden scars.
Exactly. And you start to see how each character in their own way is both a victim
Right.
and an agent and all
Oh,
this.
yeah. It really is like this tangled web, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Where they're all caught up in it.
Mm-hmm.
Arav's trying to end the affair,
Okay.
but Rena's clinging even tighter.
Right, because of her insecurities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Mira's just consumed by the jealousy and her own struggles.
Yeah.
And she starts lashing out.
And it's those moments, right,
Yeah.
when the tension's so high
Yeah.
that the story just, like, grabs you.
Mhm.
You see Mira projecting her insecurities
Yeah.
onto others.
Right.
Like, she starts body shaming
Yeah.
both herself
Yeah.
and everyone around her.
And it's uncomfortable,
Oh, for sure.
but it's powerful, right?
It is. It shows how societal pressure and trauma
Yeah.
can affect us.
Right. And how we interact with others.
Exactly. It's like the author's saying,
Yeah.
sometimes the things we hate the most in other people are just reflections of our own struggles.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so these three characters are going down this path of self-destruction.
Right.
And the story takes this dark turn.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's where we're headed next.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
We're going to dive into the murder and the aftermath.
All right.
And all that comes after.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so we left off with Arav, Rena, and Mira.
Right.
And their desires, the betrayal, all that resentment,
Yeah, a lot going on.
Especially for Mira. Like,
yeah.
her whole world's been flipped upside down.
Right, exactly.
And Rena's clinging tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
So how does the story handle all that, all those emotions?
Well, it doesn't shy away from it.
Oh, okay.
You really see how those pent-up emotions can be destructive.
Right.
Like, raw power just explodes.
Wow.
The author, I think they do a good job showing that confrontation between Mira and Rena.
Right.
You can, like, feel the words, like those verbal blows, all those accusations. And it's not just that. It's like years of pain just bubbling over.
Wow.
And it really makes you think. Like, how quickly things can fall apart when jealousy takes over.
It's almost like watching a car crash in slow motion.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You know it's coming, but you can't look away.
Right.
Yeah, it's...
And, it makes you wonder, right? Like, is this really an ordinary life?
Right, exactly.
Or is this this destructive potential in everyone?
Totally. And it's not just physical violence.
Right.
There's that psychological violence.
Oh, for sure.
With Mira and the body shaming.
Yeah.
Like, it's directed at herself, but also at Rena.
Right.
And it just shows you how those societal pressures can really mess up our perceptions of ourselves.
Exactly.
And how we view other people.
Totally. And it's a reminder, too, right, that words can have a lasting impact.
Right.
Even if you say them in the heat of the moment.
It's like the author is saying, sometimes the worst wounds, they're not the physical ones.
Right.
It's those ones that hurt your self-worth.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then, well, it gets even darker, right?
Oh,
because Rena's death, it's staged to look like a suicide.
Okay, so now it's not just a death. It's a whole mystery.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's where the detective, Rajiv, and Inspector Priya, they come in.
Got it.
And they're not just investigating a crime. They're trying to figure out all these emotions.
Oh.
And, like, why people did what they did.
That's interesting.
It's almost like they're like archaeologists of the soul or something.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Trying to piece it all together.
Right.
Going through these broken lives, looking for clues, trying to find, like, the meaning.
Right, so it's not just about catching the bad guy.
Yeah.
It's about understanding, like, how did this happen?
And I love how the story doesn't just, like, tell us the answers.
Right.
We're, like, right there with the investigators looking at Rena's texts, Mira's diary, Arev's statements, and, like, trying to figure it out.
Unraveling the truth.
Exactly. Yeah, and as those pieces come together, it's like the story shifts from the outside drama to what's going on inside the characters.
Exactly, and you start to see, like, Arev's guilt. It gets deeper.
Right.
And he's torn between loving Mira, but also the truth.
Right.
And then there's Mira. The investigators dig into her past.
Okay.
And she's not just a jealous wife anymore. You see her insecurities, that feeling of being unloved.
Right.
Her struggle with, her identity.
It makes you think, like, the affair was just the start of it all.
Yeah, like it was all building up.
Exactly, like the author is saying. Sometimes the most dangerous things are the ones we don't see.
Exactly.
And so knowing that the affair was just the tip of the iceberg, where do we go from here?
Well, that's a great question.
What else will they uncover?
Let's find out.
So we're back, and things are getting really interesting now.
Right.
Because we're not just, solving a murder anymore.
It's deeper than that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're, like, going deep into these characters, right?
Like, their minds.
Yeah, and the investigators, they're finding all these clues, like Rena's texts, which show how manipulative she was.
Right.
And Mira's diary, with all her jealousy.
Right.
And their Arev's statements. They just don't add up.
It all seems to point to Mira.
Yeah,
but there's always a twist.
Exactly. Like nothing is ever simple in this story.
Yeah, that's what makes it so good.
And so it's interesting, right? Because now the authors, like shifting the focus from the who to the why, you know?
Like, why would they do that?
Exactly. It's not about who did it.
Right.
It's about, like, all the reasons behind it.
The motivation.
Yeah. Like, can we really judge someone if we don't understand their whole story?
It's like looking at just one piece of a puzzle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the authors putting the human heart under a microscope.
Oh, wow.
You know, showing us all the flaws.
The contradictions.
Yeah, the good and the bad. And then, just when you think you know it all, boom, another twist.
Uh-oh.
Remember those letters from Rena?
Yeah, the hidden ones.
Yeah, where she's talking about exposing the affair.
Right.
Well, they come back.
Oh, wow.
And it changes everything.
And it makes us rethink Rena.
Right, like was she really just manipulative?
Yeah, or was there more to it?
Right, and Orav,
yeah,
he's not just stuck between these two women.
Yeah.
Now he's got to worry about, like, his career.
His reputation. So it's like a real moral dilemma.
It is, and this story doesn't tell us what's right or wrong.
That's true.
It's like the author is asking us, what would you do?
Right, like would you protect yourself?
Even if it meant hiding the truth.
Yeah, or would you risk it all?
It's tough.
Yeah, and then the ending,
oh, man.
it stays with you.
It does.
You see Arav alone. He's got all this success, but he's broken.
It's like the city, right?
Totally.
Shiny on the outside.
Yeah.
But inside, there's just decay.
Yeah, and then there's that line from Detective Rajiv, you know.
One about the lies?
Yeah, he says, in the end, it's not just the blood on the hands, but the lies that stain the soul.
Chills, right?
Yeah.
It really makes you think, like, we do things.
Yeah.
And, there are consequences.
Not just physical ones.
No, they, like, change us.
Exactly.
And they can change how we see ourselves.
It's powerful.
It is. And so this whole deep dive into shattered reflections, it's been like a journey.
Yeah.
Through all these dark parts of ourselves, you know.
Desire, betrayal.
All that. And, like, what happens when we have to face the truth?
Right. It makes you think about your own life.
It does. And I think that's the power of this story.
Yeah, it stays with you.
It does. It really does.
And it makes you ask those tough questions.
Yeah, like, what are we hiding?
And what are we willing to risk?
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, we're left with this question for you. What reflections do you see in all of this?
Think about it.
And thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.